I sent a lot of information to the White House recently, and December 22nd, 2021, I received a letter back from the White House. I'm actually looking at it right now. And it's one of those kind of letters where you wonder, does it make a difference, or does that person and individual actually see what you're trying to say and where you've actually come from? See, I sent several letters to the White House administration. I've done that to Trump administration, Bush administration, now the Biden administration. And it says, Dear Mr. Alamos, thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts with me. Hearing from passionate individuals like you inspires me every day, and I welcome the opportunity to respond to your letter. Our country faces many challenges, and the road we travel together will be one of the most difficult in our history. Despite these tough times, I have never been more optimistic for the future of America. I believe we are better positioned than any country in the world to lead the 21st century, not just by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. While we may not always agree on how to solve every issue, I pledge to be a president for all Americans. I am confident that we can work together. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at this, but he says, I am confident that we can work together and find common ground to make America a more just, prosperous, and secure nation. As we move forward to address the complex issue of our time, I encourage you to remain an active participant in helping write the next great chapter of the American story. We need your courage and dedication at this critical time, and we must meet this moment together as the United States of America. If we do that, I believe that our best days still lie ahead. Sincerely, Joe Biden. Here's that right there. I took a video of this. I had to take a video of it because it was really cool. Not a lot of people think about these things like that, but I don't know. Some people, when I was growing up, some people didn't really explain what correspondence was. And when you write somebody, before there were cell phones, laptops, tablets, these are the kind of things that I grew up around. A lot of my grandparents, aunts, and uncles, they wrote each other letters, and then they were sincere letters. When I was in the Air Force, when I was in the military, I was writing letters to my family as much as I could, and that's something that just isn't really thought about, appreciated, or just some of the thought processes. I write a lot. I write all the time. All the time. Poetry. I do a lot of theoretical thought on everything. You name it, I've touched base on it. It doesn't matter if it's religious studies or spiritual writings or biblical writings or rough drafts for film, poetry, lyrics. In school, I was always writing. I don't, and I encourage that a lot. I mean, a lot of people, most Americans these days, they pride themselves on filling their brain with all the Jay-Z lyrics they can, or how many fantasy football leagues you're a part of, or just stuff that I see no value in. I mean, everybody's individual on that, but the ideological principalities that a lot of people have these days, it makes me critique a lot. I've never had a problem with critiquing a lot of things, and there are situations where I've actually become the muse of a lot of subjects that I never thought possible. But I mean, it makes you wonder what people's main engine is, what people think about, what drives them. Some people, they don't want to be involved with the world, and you're in the world, or they don't want to be involved with the microcosm, macrocosm thought processes of everything. And I don't mind talking to different people about these things. That's it's interesting to see where people come together or fall away from each other on these certain subjects. And I really don't get offended about stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, granted, I can come off very callous about, but in the past recent months, I mean, a lot of people have been going through things that they never thought possible. Right now, Ukraine and Russia are going at it. And then I find myself seeing some of the most unlikely people going above and beyond trying to help others out. And then some of the people that, it's like meeting your favorite football player, or meeting your favorite person, or your singer, that person you looked up to. I don't want to say idolize, but I mean, when it comes down to political figures, historical figures, people who wrote a lot. Those are the people that actually affected me a lot. Nikolai Tesla's been one of them. Jesus Christ was always one of them. When you read about the things certain people do, or you actually get to view what they're doing at this very same time that you're living, a lot of people, that word innovate gets thrown out there a lot, especially by Elon Musk. And there are things that I'm innovating on that I just never thought that I would be interested in, just because of the way things are these days. I mean, whether it's the critical atomic mass of a nuclear weapon going off just because of the shelling that the Russians are doing over in Ukraine. I mean, I never thought that I would think about intercontinental ballistic missiles or some nuclear threat. I mean, even with my studies with the Brahmavad Gita, they said the Trinity bomb was the first bomb to ever go off, and that was just not true. There were nuclear blasts in India, and you could see the shadows of elephants and things like that. And just a lot of the things that people study. I mean, I never read People magazine. I don't sit and read Cosmo or Men's Health magazine. All those things kind of came natural because of the way certain people live. And the Caribbean diet is one of the most healthiest diets out there, and there are some people that are like, "Abuh? Like, what is that? Abuh?" I sound like Mike Myers from from or a Monty Python skit. Like, it's some of the stuff that goes on these days and the people spend their time on is friggin' ridiculous. And I'm worried about, like David Polivis is. I'm worried about where missing kids are. I'm wondering what the nation is doing. The ruble's actually less than a penny now, and it sounds like I'm making fun of it, but these are actual economic dynamic changes that can be fixed very quickly, and the answers are right there. And some of these things, they don't have a consultant for them, and that is disturbing in my mind. I mean, you're supposed to be making a way for your kids' grandchildren's children, you know? Some people just plain are oblivious and don't give a shit, and that's very concerning to me. But I'll cut this video short. It's just something that was on my mind. I mean, I never minded talking to people, but I come off very crass sometimes, and a lot of the people that don't know me, it's it's a wonder when you kind of profile somebody that you don't know. And it is what it is, I guess, you know? Have a good night. It is Monday, March 7th, 2022, 11:24 p.m. Praying for Ukraine right now. Same as I'm praying for Yemen and Syria and the Russian people. I know Russians are actually getting detained for protesting the war. And all the madness has got to stop, and it's got to go all the way back down to checking principalities, because there are certain people that have things going on up here that don't make any sense out in the real world. Something is messed up between their microcosm and their macrocosm, and it's all possible to be fixed, especially with all the dead, 12,000 dead in Ukraine. Before that, Syria just lost over 350,000 people. My last videos, some people don't read descriptions, and I put so much information in there. Some people do not know the world that they live in. I never was interested in politics until I got into my 30s. I'm almost 40 now. I'm 37 years old. People think I'm a 23-year-old kid. I'm a father of two. I was born in the 80s when all the crazy shit was going on, and there was high-pitched SRA everywhere, and people were wondering where all the kids are going. And I was around when kids were actually on milk cartons. Some people don't even remember that. All this shit's got to change. Yesterday. Have a good night.